All right, take two. Hopefully Debbie Lichter is able to join. So excited to be on here. Y'all missed take one. There was a lot of phone falling, which was exciting. And hopefully she'll join. I'm really excited to be connecting with Debbie and to be talking to you guys about confidence and overcoming that negative self-talk that we all have. Bring them on, yes. Yay. All right, so Debbie is getting added, and I'm super excited to connect you guys with her. And I'm just going to keep readjusting this camera. Yeah, I know. I'm adding her. Approve. Okay, so we're waiting on the Facebook gods to allow me to add Debbie. So exciting. A lot of what we're going to be talking about is that negative self-talk and how do we overcome it and how do we let it. Oh, yeah! We have Houston.
Oh, wait, we have it. I think I have to hold my phone though because it's making me hold a sideways view, and I was not ready for that. So.
Oh, no. Do you want to walk somewhere where it's more comfortable?
No, it's all good. It's all good. I'm all ready here. I got my. So I decided to wear my citrine. So citrine is the stone that represents confidence and your personal power and just shining your light and putting yourself out there. And so I thought, what a perfect little mascot for
today.
For today, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. I actually have. I'm getting feedback on my end. Are you hearing that?
Let me turn that off. Is it better now?
Oh my gosh. No, I can still hear it. It's okay. We'll go with it. This keeps happening on every Facebook Live I do. Where it's like weird feedback. I'm going to take these out. Maybe. Hopefully y'all can hear it.
Okay.
I love that you're wearing citrine. I know I disappeared off this. I also have something citrine. That was my AirPods falling on the floor.
It's okay. This is what I love too. This is what I love actually, Kate, because I feel like when we're talking about confidence, there's this idea that confidence means I'm going to do it right. I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to be perfect and it's all going to work the way that I think it's supposed to. And what I really find is confidence is am I willing to actually mess up? Am I willing for it to not be perfect? Am I willing to literally just show up and have it be really raw and real. And that's it. Yeah. So I love it.
I'm 100% with you, Debbie, on this. So far, we've had a little bit of a delay. The thing it's not about that. It's about let's just be real and go forward. And one of the things that people really struggle with is this inner dialogue saying, look at you, this messed up, other people think this, they're acting seriously, all those things. But it's be present and go forward, and who cares?
Well, that's just it. And I feel like that, is so interesting because I literally just minutes before we jumped on this video, I was chatting with a woman out in Texas because I do these free monthly gatherings, and she's going to be at my next gathering, and I wanted to connect with her around it. And we literally were talking about this exact thing. I said, well, what do you want if anything were possible? She's like, I want to stop doubting myself. I want to stop, I want to stop that inner dialogue of when another woman passes on the street and I'm standing there with my husband, that all of a sudden I start feeling fat and I'm, now comparing myself and feeling just my worth goes down the toilet. And this is what we do. This is what happens so often with so many of us. And, in the same breath, I speak with women and it's other people, I can put on the happy face. I can be positive. I can be friendly. Other people might think that I'm confident, but inside, like you said, Kate, there's that inner dialogue. There's that inner second guessing. There's that inner self-critic. And we all have that going on, or at least that is something that is so common that we can get free from. And so I think that's what I'm so excited to be here with you today, because I think you and I are both so aligned in how do we really get first an authentic dialogue around this, and then really talk about what those distinctions are to actually move beyond it.
Yeah, because it's possible to move beyond it. You can still hear it and then shift. You don't have to be stuck. So Debbie, I'd love to introduce you a little bit. Can you share more about your work?
Oh, yeah, goodness. So I help women get free from whatever addictions or obsessions or self-sabotaging patterns are holding them back so that they truly can authentically shine their lights. And I find that confidence is a huge thing. I speak with so many women. They're like, I want to feel free. I want to feel confident. But then we have so many ways that we are doubting ourselves. We've got so many ways that we are, not feeling our full worth. And that really, frankly, we're really hooked into what I call the external feedback loop, like where we're so focused and fixated on how, other people or how the world around us perceives us, that it actually completely defines our own inner sense of ourselves, our own inner sense of worth or value. So ultimately what I love to support women around is how to unhook from that external feedback loop and really gain access to their inner guidance system so that they can operate from a place of authentic, embodied confidence that has them authentically feeling like they can just be themselves and put themselves out there. So yeah, that's a little bit about what I do.
That's awesome. Apparently the sound is a little fuzzy.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Okay, it's on my end. Don't know how to fix it. Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna let you keep talking while I fix this.
Okay.
That's cool. So I love what you were sharing about like how do we step in the freedom from all the addiction happening and really step into what we want and desire.
Yeah, because the thing is that, I haven't yet spoken with a person who doesn't have some kind of addiction, addiction to obsessing, addiction to, busyness, addiction to just image management, just wanting other people to like us. And then not to mention the other things that I deal with more specifically with people, around like food and all that kind of stuff. And whatever we have that's going on, mostly I'm talking to a lot of people who are really smart, who already have lots of tools, who already have lots of knowledge about how they want to be, and yet they get in their own sabotage patterns, and that can really, really affect confidence. And so, I think that one of the things that really holds us back from confidence is when we feel like we are living incongruently with our truth. We feel like we are, we have but that we are, we're not acting all that way all the time. And so it's really good and nice to talk about wanting to be confident, but I feel like until we really get congruent on the inside, where we don't feel that deeper level of shame and guilt because we know that we're not, kind of in our own internal integrity, I think that, we can't kind of get to confidence. So I really see having the confidence to put yourself out there as it's something that we graduate to, like we first have to get free from the self-judgment, like you talked about. I know you talk a lot about that, Kate.
Yep.
Huge. And then, a huge piece that I think a lot of us are missing is just the willingness to receive. It's that worthiness piece, like I was speaking with someone earlier and she said, I get resentful because my family doesn't help me around the house. But then as soon as they start helping me, I feel criticized, like they don't think I'm doing a good enough job, It's sometimes it's just the ability to be able to receive is so important. And then really gaining that access to our inner guidance, which is that's a whole teaching in and of itself that I can go into. But,
Intuition, following it.
And following your gut guidance and really connecting in with your body and really, really accessing, like divine inspiration or whatever that deeper, wisdom is from within. And then getting free of the things that are blocking us, getting free of some of those patterns that have us really self-sabotaging and self-betraying. You know, that's really, really important before we can get to the authenticity piece. And once we access authenticity, then we can finally get into a place where we have the confidence to put ourselves out there. And so, you know, I love that you really get that it's not just something that we can just assert and just do. It's absolutely something
it's a process.
It's a process. It's a process. Absolutely. Yeah.
Like you've got to start to recognize, to hear the thoughts. What are they saying? And then are you going to buy into that? Are you going to transform it? And you have that option. So thank you, Debbie, for being so amazing and rolling with like my random interruptions. Apparently putting on earbuds will be helpful and get rid of the echo. So it's exciting to roll with it. I'm getting random feedback in my ear though, so I'm like literally talking and hearing my voice at the same time, which is weird.
It's the words.
But we're going to go with it. We're going to go with it. I love, so essentially, Debbie and I are talking together today because I'm hosting an upcoming challenge called Shine with Confidence. And Debbie is one of the amazing experts featured on it. She is giving an incredible gift. And ultimately, we have a lot in common with the work that we do, which is so awesome. Because I love meeting another sister out there who's doing the same thing. So with that being said, I'd love to dive a little bit more into self-sabotage. Because I feel like this is something that like people come up against all the time and they don't quite get it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like right there. Why are you not doing the things that you're saying you're doing? Why are you not following through on the commitments? Why do you freak out and like run the other direction? So I was just wondering if we could take that a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I love it. And you know, the sabotage thing is something that I really, really specialize in, obviously, because I work so much with folks around addiction. And I'm speaking with so many smart people all the time who have done so much inner work, and they're like, I know what to do. Why don't I do it? And, you know, there's a couple of places that I really, the very first thing that I do with folks when they start working with me is I actually help them get clarity on what the real problem is, because oftentimes what I find is that we're trying to fix a problem that we don't fully understand with an incomplete solution. And that's what has us really, really getting stuck, and we're trying to do the thing. I mean, it's interesting, Kate, when someone says, I know what to do, I say, well, tell me what you think you should be doing. And invariably, what people think they should be doing is usually an incomplete solution at best, or actually off the mark.
I know, or like the exact opposite of what they need to do.
Yeah. I was just talking to a woman yesterday, and she's like, okay, I want to have these results, and I need to do this, this, and this. And I said, okay, so please, you know, take this with a grain of salt. Like we're just meeting each other, and so I don't need to be right. So I'm just going to put something out there, and you just kind of like feel what's inside of yourself if this feels true for you. But here's the thing: is that if we're having a current experience that the current mental construct that's living in the current paradigm that we're in is creating, and we want a new experience, we want to feel more confident, or we want to put ourselves out there, or we want to start a business, or, you know, get into a relationship, or get free from an addiction, then it follows that all the things that we know have brought us to where we are. And that includes all the tools that we have right now. And so if we actually want to get to a new place, then we're going to have to set aside everything we think we know. We're going to have to set aside all the tools that got us to where we are, so that we can gain those next level tools in order to have a new experience. And that's, you know, people understand that logically. But here's the challenge with that, is that all of us, whether we admit it or not, have a certain level of control freakism inside of ourselves, where we want to have a sense of, I'm doing this, I'm in control. If I don't do what I think of, like, then it feels really out of control, feels really scary. And so oftentimes we have these beliefs of like, I know the universe has my back, but then we're working overtime to try to control things to work us to go a certain direction, or to figure things out on our own. And so what I find is that, you know, one of the delicate places that I love to navigate with folks is, okay, so are you willing to be guided through a process where you can start to get free of the need to control, so that you actually can be in a place where you can receive more, and that you actually get to get supported through that threshold of where running it on your own story is only it's gonna get you 80% of the way there, but it's gonna block you from being able to get the rest of the way.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when we're looking at sabotage, again, we first need to get clarity on what the real problem is. That is first and foremost. And then it really is embarking on this journey of deactivating this impulse to need to control and figure it out on our own, and to actually be able to drop into a deeper place of inner trust, so that we can be escorted through that threshold into a new place where we actually are able to have the very thing that we've been wanting the whole time.
Yeah. I love to teach around this too, because clarity is so essential. Like, you've got to have that. And then you're right about that control piece. We often end up stressing ourselves out or thinking we need to do it differently. And we get so far off track as a result of that, that we lose focus of what we really wanted in the first place. You know, and so like, what would it be like to trust that the universe really does have your back? And what if you could just open up to what's possible? To trust that it's all coming to you, instead of getting sidetracked by your thoughts of like, it's not here, I'm clearly not doing it right, oh, look at my result. All that obsessive talk we go through.
Totally. So that's the one piece. And then the other piece I would say with sabotage is that if you are caught up in what I was referring to earlier, that external feedback loop, and you're just turning yourself inside out, overgiving, people pleasing, not having healthy boundaries, trying to prove yourself, holding back because you don't want other people to judge you. If you're caught up in any of that stuff, which, I mean, hello, like, that this stuff happens.
I'd say all people.
All people, right? All people. Then what it does is it sets us up for that, like, that kind of that rebound effect of, I just need a break from all this. I've been giving everything to everybody else. I deserve a treat. And then we want to reward ourselves with whatever the thing is. You know, maybe it's that second dessert. Maybe it's, you know, binge watching Netflix. Maybe it is whatever the thing is. But this is where I find that those sabotage patterns of addiction can pop in there, because we want a sense of ease and comfort. It's just too much. It's too exhausting, and we feel totally misunderstood by the world. So sabotage is one of those things that has multiple facets to it. And
and then we can go into that beat up. That, like, right after we've done it, and we're like, you know, fistful deep into a pint of Ben and Jerry's, binge watching Netflix. And then all this shame bubbles up.
Yeah, totally. And then that creates even more incongruence, even more shame, even more discrepancy. And so, you know, we talked about, like, wanting to get free of the self-judgment. But what happens is, what I oftentimes find, especially with smart folks who've done a lot of inner work, is that we have this image of where we think we're supposed to be, or how we think we're supposed to be. Like, I shouldn't be doing this, or I should be this way, or it should be like this. And then we have this perception of where we believe ourselves to be. But I'm here, but I'm weak, but I'm lazy, but I'm undisciplined, but I can't get it together, but I lack willpower, whatever the story is, but I'm stupid. And that discrepancy is where all of our shame lives. It's where all of our self-doubt lives. It's where all of our incongruence lives. It's where all of our addictions live as well. And so the more we actually create that discrepancy, that self-judgment of it should be this way, but I'm here, I'm wrong and bad because of that, it actually holds us hostage from the very experience of the confidence and the freedom that we want.
Right.
Yeah. And so, you know, what I find when I'm supporting folks through this, because it's like, I would say 99% of the people I start working with have some form of this, because there's already kind of a shame factor of, like, I've got an addiction happening. I should be able to figure this out on my own. I'm smart, done lots of inner work. I figured out so many other areas of my life. What's wrong with me? And so they kind of come into it with a lot of self-judgment. And I say, great. So the first thing we're going to do is actually collapse the construct, is collapse that discrepancy. This does not mean, and I'm really clear about this, this does not mean I'm supposed to accept what's happening, because the word acceptance, it's not that acceptance is a bad concept. The word carries a lot of charge for us. It's like we tell ourselves, I should just accept this, I should just let it go, and like we don't.
No, because you're like beating yourself up with it. You're like, if I just tell myself enough, I'll be there.
And so then we're beating ourselves up for not being able to accept it, thinking that we should accept it, still having the feelings, still having what we think we should have done differently. It's like we have layers upon layers of self-judgment. And so
much. It's just like weighing you down.
It's exactly what happens. And so when I support folks through this, I talk about not acceptance, but embracing. And embracing is like not needing it to be any different, not needing to change your state, not needing to accept it so it goes away, but just to embrace the fullness of the experience right now, meaning that for today, in this moment, can I just embrace the fact that there's a part of me that thinks that I should be doing it differently? There's a part of me that thinks I should have this already figured out. There's a part of me that's still doing the pattern. There's a part of me that's judging the part of me that's still doing the pattern. And for today, can I just embrace all of it? Can I go from bracing against it, making it wrong, to just embracing it? And it's incredible what gets to open up when we start doing that.
Right. It reminds me of a gentleness towards ourselves.
Yeah.
And really, like, ultimately, what we're talking about is moving past the self-judgment.
Yeah.
So both of us have kind of like different processes, but essentially, like, it really is shifting past these judgments. And within the Shine with Confidence Challenge that's coming up, we're really going to be identifying that negative self-talk and moving through it so that it stops blocking you from that confidence and that freedom that Debbie's really talking about. And Debbie, I know you're going to be giving a free gift away on that. Would you like to just intro what that's going to be so that they know?
It's going to be a bit of a surprise, but it might involve some citrine.
Yay! Awesome! I love it. Okay, very cool. You guys have to stay tuned. I love the excitement. It's like building it. I hope you guys enjoyed really getting to hear Debbie's work, how she approaches things, how to overcome and work with self-sabotage so it stops being this thing that blocks you, and to really start to experience confidence and freedom.
Yay. It was so awesome to be here with you, Kate.
All right. Thank you so much. Bye, y'all. It was awesome connecting with you, too.
Bye.
Bye.